Hey guys, welcome to my page. I am a therapist with anxiety raising kids who don't stop moving, and somehow we still travel while also trying to stay grounded. We travel not because it's easy, but because I've learned how to support my nervous system through the chaos. Here's what's helped me the most: lowering my expectations, knowing that not every trip has to feel magical, creating tiny pockets of calm wherever we are, whether that's at home or on the road, and letting my kids see me regulate in real time. If you've ever thought, I want to travel, but my anxiety says no, you're not alone, and you're not stuck either. Whether it's travel anxiety or anxiety in other aspects, you are definitely not alone. On this page, I will share realistic, therapist informed ways to travel with kids without burning out your nervous system. My personal journey also includes working towards a more minimal home where we can create calm at home so that we can handle the chaos of the world. Thank you for being a part of this journey. I hope you learned something today and that you stay for as long as you would like. Hello, hello. Welcome. Oh my goodness. Welcome to my channel. This is the first official video. I used to post videos many moons ago when I was in an entirely different stage in my life. But this is my first video working towards an entire new philosophy and concept and idea of what I want this page to be. So I thought I would pop on, introduce myself, and kind of give you my why and what to expect when you come to my page. So first, I thought I would come to you from outside because this page is about exploration and it is about helping foster an environment where we can thrive as adults, as parents, especially those who struggle with anxiety or any mental struggles that get in the way of doing the things that you want to do. And also about travel and adventure and being outside and giving our children a place to thrive. And I will be talking a lot on my channel about travel and exploration and tips and tools for being able to explore with your children, especially for those who struggle with mental health issues and anxieties and things that get in the way of that. But I also wanted to start at my roots, right? Like, this is my home and this is where I'm raising my children in this season of life. And so it's really, really important to me. But also, this page is going to be about raising children in calm environments within ourself, within our home, so that we can do all of the things that we want to do and not let anxiety, stress, the stress of everyday life get in the way of our goals. I talk with my hands a lot, so you're going to see them coming up and down. So yeah, where to begin? So I am a marriage and family therapist. I've been a marriage and family therapist for 9 years now, which is wild. I currently have my own private practice called Collaborative Caring Counseling in the Seattle area. And I see families, I see children, I see adults, I see individuals, I see couples, I see everyone. My biggest interest, my biggest niche is anxiety. So teens with anxiety. I was a teenage girl with anxiety. So teens with anxiety, adults with anxiety, moms going through life cycles that are similar to mine, all of those sorts of things. Couples who are going through financial issues, marital issues, intimacy issues. I see everyone. But anxiety is really my bread and butter. It is where I am most passionate. It is where I thrive when working with clients. There is some really clear tools and resources that can help people work through and move through their anxiety. And that's what I like to teach on. My practice is very educational and collaborative based. I'm not a typical armchair therapist where you just sit there and nod your head and say, and how did that make you feel? Like, I get into it with you. I will educate. I will give my opinion when appropriate if there's something that I feel could be helpful and useful for you. And yeah, so I'm very collaborative. It's in the name. I want you to come to your own solutions. I want you to be able to fix and solve the problems that you feel are in your way or that are getting in your way. But I also want to walk alongside you and hold your hand and be able to guide you and be a resource and be an accountability buddy. I think half my job is being an accountability buddy, honestly. Throughout these 9 years, I have been able to develop some broad understanding and pictures of how I think kind of patterns are and how I think things go in my practice. And I wanted to extend that into the social media space so that I can help more people than just the ones sitting in my office. So, because we only have so many hours in a day. So, that's kind of where we're at. And then why the travel component? So, I grew up with a family that traveled. My dad was an adventure writer, he's an author, and we traveled a lot. My mom's a travel agent also, so we traveled a lot as a child, and I loved it. Although, when you're a kid, you like want to be home with your friends. But I think I appreciate it so much more now knowing what my parents went through to allow us to have those memories. So I've always had the travel bug since I was a kid, but also as I entered into my adult life, I've done a lot of traveling. And I felt I never actually I have always had travel anxiety when I was little. I don't think I knew that obviously that's what it was because I was a kid. But as I got older, I started developing an understanding of my travel anxiety. I had a panic attack on a plane when I was in my mid 20s, and it really threw me for a loop because I was like, but I want to travel. This is what I love to do. I do not want flight anxiety specifically to stop me from doing it. And my anxiety is a little different. I don't have like worried the plane's going to crash anxiety. My anxiety shows up around medical. So, like, worried that something bad's going to happen on the plane and we're going to have to like land the plane. I also get super claustrophobic and motion sick. So, the combination of that being on a plane makes me super, super uncomfortable. But I had never had a panic attack in that context before. And so it really threw me for a loop, and it taught me, it drew attention to the fact that I really need to hone in on my coping skills and my understanding of why I'm triggered and what I'm triggered about and what I can do about it preemptively before I fly, during flight, after flight, that sort of thing. So that's always been kind of in the forefront. I have a lot of clients that struggle with flight anxiety as well. And so, yeah, so all of that to be said, we've done a lot of like smaller flights with my children, and actually having children has brought my anxiety down a little bit because it gives me something to focus on while flying, but it was still there. And in the fall at Christmas time, we were planning to do an England trip. So my brother's in grad school in England, and we decided as a family we all wanted to go visit him. This was going to be my longest flight. Long flights are what give me the most anxiety because, we are stuck on a plane for a long time. Flight anxiety, claustrophobia, motion sickness, all the things. So I was really worried about this flight. And so I had to do a lot of prep work before, to really work through my triggers, my thoughts, my perspective on what this was going to look like, because I knew the end goal was getting to see my brother. I hadn't seen him in almost a year. Getting to see my brother, getting to take my children to England, having this amazing opportunity to travel with my family, and my parents. And so I did a lot of the work, and it was great. It was super successful. It was one of our best trips. But it really brought on this topic, and I've been really thinking about it a lot and wondering like what I want to do with my page and with my profession, how I can help people, what I'm passionate about. And right now, and for always, that's been anxiety and travel and being a mom with anxiety. Okay, so what can you expect on this page? What can you expect from my channel? I am hoping to show some travel lifestyle. So, what does it look like traveling with kids? What does it look like prepping for kids travel? Um, I'll do some fun like pack with me as an anxious mom, all of those sorts of things. So, there's going to be a lot coming down the line of hopefully, yeah, days and preps before travel, but also from the therapeutic side, the educational component. What can you do when you struggle with anxiety? What are kind of my like non-negotiables for managing my anxiety? I don't believe that I will ever be cured, is maybe the wrong word. Cured of anxiety. I am someone who struggles with anxiety. My fight or flight response is flight. It is connected to my anxiety, right? But I can manage it in such a way, I can create such a calm and peaceful environment that my anxiety doesn't have really room to fester. That is my hope. That is my goal. And so, education, like I want to be able to educate you. If you are someone who wants to travel, if you are someone who has anxiety, if you are someone who it doesn't even have to be about travel, a lot of these things are going to be applicable to you just in general as someone who has anxiety. That is my goal. I want it to be broad and sweeping. I might use specific examples related to travel, but that can be applicable across many different areas of life. Anyone who knows me knows that I love to leave people with tangible tools, tricks, and things that you can take with you. So my clients at the end of most sessions are left with something to think about, a concept to talk about, homework that I want them to work on. I thought it would be fitting because my bookshelf is one of my biggest coping skills. Whether it's an audiobook or reading, it is how I disconnect and dive into an alternate reality when I'm spiraling. So I thought it would be very fitting to come to you from my bookshelf, my book space. Legos also a great coping skill, and so I thought it would be a great place to kind of wrap this video up and leave you with three. That's six. Three tangible things that I want you to do to start out on this journey towards healing your anxiety or working towards a goal of doing something that maybe made you anxious and now we're trying to work towards it. So, first and foremost is start to identify and notice your triggers. Write them down. You're going to hear me say this a lot, but a notebook, your notes app in your phone, write down, it's going to be your best friend because we're going to do a lot of journaling, tracking, introspection. So write down your triggers. Sometimes we don't always know what it's a trigger, that it's a trigger. We just feel something in our body and we're like, why am I feeling that way? Or we don't realize that maybe it was like 3 steps before. But noticing your triggers. What is triggering you? So for me, it's like the moment before I book a flight, I start to get pretty, like I start to feel yucky. I know that thinking about that day of the flight, being on the plane is really triggering for me. Stepping onto the airplane when they close the door is super triggering for me. We'll talk more about what we can do about that, obviously, later on. But starting to notice what your triggers are. They can be super small, they can be smells, they can be taste, they can be things that you see, they can be thoughts that you have. There's a million different things. So start to pay attention to your triggers. And then start to pay attention to what your body does. It's often things like avoiding, quitting, disconnecting, disengaging. What are things that your body does to avoid that feeling, avoid that thought process, avoiding the discomfort that comes with the anxiety? So, what are the things that you tend to do that are most likely the unhelpful behaviors? And those tend to be the more obvious ones, right? Like I don't book flights. I don't go to the grocery store. I only drive this certain direction. If I have car anxiety, I don't drive. Um, we start to develop these like ritualistic things around our anxiety to kind of make us feel better. So pay attention to your triggers, pay attention to your behaviors, pay attention to your feelings. What feelings are coming up? Discomfort, annoyance, frustration. Where do we feel it in our body? When you're sitting in that moment, what are you feeling? For me, I get really tight in my chest. I get really hot. I start to have intense thought patterns of what if this thing happens? What if this bad thing happens? What if I puke on the plane? What if the plane like has to land because someone has a heart attack? Like I start to have these thoughts, right? So what are the thoughts and what are the feelings? And I would just jot them down like one in each category and be thinking about them. And then we can talk about that at a later date. But it is a really good place to have some introspective work on like, what are my triggers? Why are they my triggers? And what do I tend to do about it to avoid those things when I'm feeling kind of crummy? Because the avoidance is a big one and it's what's getting in the way of us doing the thing that we want to do. So great place to start. I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for joining. If you've made it this far, I so appreciate you being here. you hanging tight with me while I muster through my first video. I'm going to be learning a lot and hope that you bear with me as I navigate this really new skill that I'm trying to learn while also teaching you guys things that are really important to me. So have a great week and I will talk to you soon.